everybody, this is Christine Bertram coming to you on a Tuesday for Tip Tuesday. And today we're going to talk about some punches, some aha moment I had recently with some punches that were discontinued, and I think I put it together why Stampin' Up! Discontinued them. And then I was talking to one of my customers and team member about it, and she's like, oh, well, that makes sense. And it made me think, well, maybe I should do a Tip Tuesday on this because maybe others aren't aware of it. So we are sad when Stampin' Up! Retires certain things. I was especially sad when they retired the stitch shapes. And I'm still sad. I was also sad that they retired like the classic label punch. And before that, it was the word window punch. And there was another one that looked like this. I went digging through the archives and I found this one that has a little bit of a frilly side on it. And so they discontinued these punches, and I thought, well, what am I going to use for my labels? And while I was looking through the catalog, it dawned on me why they got rid of them and they moved towards these other punches. And so I want to talk about these pick your punch. And they all have different names. And when I flip the camera down, I'm going to share with you what their names are and why they're a lot more versatile to use than the classic label punch or the word window punch or whatever. That was maybe the modern label punch. But they have these banner punches that are called pick your something punch. And then you can make them any width up to, I think, an inch. And you can make them any length then. And you may not realize that that's what these punches are all about. So that's my tip for you today is I want to show you these punches, where you can find them and how they work. So let's flip our Stilskin down. And you guys, I'm so excited. I have my catalog marked so I know that I can go right to the punches. And we're on page 149 of the annual catalog. And it's the banners pick a punch, the treasured tags pick a punch, and the lovely labels pick a punch. So these are the three. And they go something like this. I didn't have them in the appropriate order, but these are the three punches that will give you any length of a label and then whichever end you'd like on it. And it was like, okay, I get it now. So again, that was page 149 if you're looking to find where they are in the catalog. And they have tracks. So to use a punch, it's in a locked form when it's closed like this. And you have to press this little lever on the back, and that opens it up. And that allows you to put your paper through these slots. To shut it, to close it, when you want to store it, you just squeeze it. And then you slide the little mechanism here back. And then that locks it. So that these can store on top of each other like this. So when I store them in a drawer or on my counter, then you can see the sides of them like that. So there's 6 different channels, tracks. Each track here is 1 inch and then 3/4 inch. And then this middle one here, the smallest one, is a 1/2 inch. Now, don't be afraid to go even less than that. I had class last night, and we had a card that actually had 3/8 of an inch. And what you do, so that's 1/2 inch, and then you have the 3/4, and then you have 1. And you can't be over. You have to be at least that, and then slightly under, and it'll fit in there really good. So for class last night, we actually were down to 3/8 of an inch on the card, and that makes it for, like, if you have a really, like this one's a really thin sentiment. So what I have are a couple sentiments that I can stamp with you. I pulled in some sentiments from Welcoming Window, which has this wishing our paths crossed a little more often. And then Art Gallery has all these little skinny sentiments. So I pulled in a couple of those so that you could see what I am talking about. So all 6 of these, the 6 tracks are all 1 inch, 3/4, and 1/2. And they each have their own end on them. So when you flip this over and you look at this, you can maybe see it good here. That one's got this, I don't know. You guys have a hard time naming things, but you can kind of see the difference. This one's more peaky and this one's more flat on the top. And then this one is your banner punch. So let's see if we can see it this way. Maybe not. Banner punch here, and then it's the opposite. So it's an innie and an outie punch. And then this one is Oh, it's called the treasured tag. So it looks like the top of a building actually from when we went to Greece, and then there's another one. So 6 different labels, 3 different sizes, so you get lots of versatility. So let's start here. So I'm going to cut myself. So this is just a scratch piece of paper, and I'm going to cut maybe 3 inches. Don't worry, guys, I won't cut my hands. So we got 3 inches, and we're going to go by 1/2 inch. So I know where 1/2 inch is on this little doohickey here. So we got the 1/2 inch, and we're going to stamp on here. You know what? We're not going to stamp right away because I have photo polymer stamps, so I will be able to see where I'm stamping. So this 1/2 inch fits right in this track. It fits in this track. It fits in all of the tracks. That's what the 1/2 inch is. Now, if you're slightly bigger than the 1/2 inch, it's going to have a hard time sliding in here back and forth. So when you do this, the main thing is to keep it in the track and push all the way to the end, and then you're going to squeeze it, and then you'll get your tag. And so this one has slightly like 45-degree corners. Cool, super cool. Okay, so that's one. Now let's say we wanted that 3/4 inch. So 3/4 inch is right here. Oh, that's basically what it was at. So 3/4 inch, when you slide it into that same one, so now I'm in the track, that's the bigger one. Okay, and now we're gonna get a slightly different end on our cap here. So let's look at the difference. So now we've gone from just like the 45s, now we've got that 45, but then it comes out and it rounds a little bit. So 2 different ends. Let's look at what the 1 inch looks like. So we're gonna do 3 inches, and we're just gonna do it by 1 inch. Okay, run that through our track. We're gonna grab the same one. So again, this fits right in that track. So it's slightly wider than it. So now I'm trying to wedge it in here. So if it's bigger, you're gonna have to trim it down. So now with this one, we get one more roll on the end here. So they all look slightly different. Let's put this against the gray mat so you guys can see. Okay, so I had each one of those at 3 inches. And so you can see the difference in how all of the ends look. Now, let's say you wanted 5/8 of an inch. Well, you can do that. So let's show you how to do it. 3 inches, and then you're gonna go 5/8, which is this line right here, because that's 3/4, so then this is 5/8. And then we can also do 3/8, which I use 3/8 quite a bit when I have skinny little sentiments. So this, I'm guessing, is about 3/8. Now, these are not gonna fit the same way in the track. They're not going to slide so smoothly. There's going to be wiggle room. And what I mean by wiggle room is now there's this little bit of extra gap there. So you're going to have to be very careful when you push that in. You're going to want to make sure you're centered in your track like that. Flip it over, and now you've got to center it really good. Okay? It's possible. You're going to have a lot less. For this one, it's more flat on the end, where if you would have used that one, you definitely get a rounded edge. So that was 3/8 inch. And then we also did a 5/8. So now 5/8 is gonna fit between the 3/4. There's gonna be wiggle room here again. You just have to be very careful with your wiggle room. So basically you can go up, that's not the one I want this one over here. You can go up to 1 inch with this. So you just, if you're gonna not use the traditional track, like 1/2 inch, 1 inch or 3/4 inch, you want to make sure you're nice and centered and that you're not off to one side or the other side. Otherwise, it's not going to punch good. Okay, so here you go. That one goes here. So now you can see we've just added a couple more in. You could do 7/8 inch too. No problem. So look at that. But now let's say you have this. Okay, so with happy birthday, let's stamp that so you guys can see what kind of a label you're working with. You can see it in action. So because it was photopolymer, I can see right over it while I'm stamping. See, this one's a good one too because that happy birthday is really skinny. And then this last one, so the thicker your sentiment, like how high it is, that's one when you use 1 inch or or slightly like around 1 inch. This one will fit really nicely yet on the 3/8. So look at that, happy birthday fit perfectly on that 3/8. So just depends on what you have going on with your sentiment. So let's talk about this one though. Like, look at how long this is. This one is it's at 3 inches right now. So let's say we want to have a little bit of extra overhang. So now this is where, if you want, you could make it at 4 inches. So let's cut it at 4, and then we're gonna make it at a 1/2 inch. And let's say we want to use this treasured tag one, because this is super cool. So at 1/2 inch, we're gonna slide that in here, and we've got this little rounded peaky thing going on, okay? And because our sentiment is a longer one, that should fill up that space. So one of the things that I try to figure out how much I'm cutting off. What you're cutting off is about 1/8 of an inch. So that's what you have to keep in consideration and how long you're cutting your tag. But look at that. Long, skinny sentiment fits perfectly on that. You would never have been able to, yes, you could have. I'll show you a trick, like how to use that for a long, skinny sentiment in case you have a punch like this. There's a trick to it too. But look at that, super cool. Let's show you what this one looks like at 1 inch, just to see the difference. So that was the treasured tag at 1 inch. Let's go in here. So this one fits nicely in the track here because we're at 1 inch. And then, now this would be good if not for a skinny sentiment. If this is a sentiment that you have, let's see, is that right? Yep. It doesn't look quite right, but it's gotta be right. Okay, perfect. So now this would be good if you have a sentiment that is maybe 2 lines or 3 lines, or it's a big fonted one. I just made that a big fonted one. But look at the ends on these. So these, I love it. Look how much detail there is on this one right here, that treasured tag. It looks like the top of a building actually. And then that one's got a different peaky. So basically, like I love this one. So I think I have about a 1/2 inch. I love this outie one. So this is like the opposite of a banner to me. And I like this. I've been doing this a lot. So this one, you're just going to center that in your track. And now this is the outie. So it just created the banner that goes not the inverted, but it's the outverted, if that's such a word. So it's the out jut. So, okay. All right. I wanted to show you my trick with this little guy here. In case you own a punch like this and you want to make it longer. Let's see here. What we have to do is we have to get the right width. And this one's going to be difficult. This would work better with the classic label punch, but because this kind of dips down here. This is, let's say, a 1/2 of an inch. So let's grab a 1/2 inch here. Let's work with our 1/2 inch. See if I can make this happen for you guys. In case you have the classic label punch or any of those punches, what you would do is if you push this in here like this, it's going to cut it. So I should have made it slightly bigger. So I'm saying that because you can see I've got a lot of wiggle room here. So let's do this let's try 5/8 inch instead. So what I'm trying to do is make myself a longer label, and that's going to be too much. Okay, what I'm trying to do is make it so it just fits in the end here. And it's going to be hard with this one because it's slanted. I bit off a little bit more than I can chew with this punch. And I think that my classic label punch and my word window punch are upstairs in my craft room. So this one, let's see. So what you would do is you would weave this up and in. Okay, that'll work. And now what you do is you weave the other side down and up and in. And now you've just created yourself a really long tag using a really short tag. So that's how you do it. You have to just make sure it's however width, like height it is here. And then I always start from the bottom and I weave my way up. Okay, don't try to jam it in this way. Sometimes it'll work, but for me, I've always had a lot of success by starting down and then weaving up. So down and then to the right, or down and to the left. And so now I've just taken my little itsy bitsy label, not spider, and and made a really long one. So, which is kind of what we're trying to accomplish with all these, but just not having all the trying to figure that out. So yeah, so that was my aha moment, was, oh, I get now why they kind of went away from these, because I don't think people used them to that ability like that. And they have 6 awesome different ends, and depending on the width, like in this case, it's always going to be this banner, the innie and the outie. But in this case, depending on which width you take, you're going to get a different edge of it, actually. So just wanted to show you guys how you can get really awesome labels with just a few punches. And punches are great because they're easy. You don't have to, like, for beginners, and you want to add extra little sentiments or something to the outside of your card, a label is something that's really easy to add to it. Another thing that, I'm going to flip down one more time. Another thing you could do to keep it simple for making a label is, after you stamp your sentiment on here, you could just slant your ends like this. And that's a great way to add a little bit of character to the end of your cards, or to the end of your labels. So yeah, there you go, guys. A little bit of a Tip Tuesday on labels, making some labels for the outside of your cards. They're just fun. It's an easy way. So you've got this beautiful card and you don't have a sentiment on, but you want to sneak a sentiment on. You could definitely make yourself a 3/8 inch strip and then banner the end of it with one of these punches and add your sentiment, and you could tuck it on there anywhere. So I am excited that you guys watched the Tip Tuesday. Did you guys know that about these pick-a-punches, that like the sky's the limit on the length of the label that you're making? It was like, whoo, who would have thought that? I guess it took this one a little bit to wake up and smell the coffee on that one. If you knew that, I'd love to hear that too, because why aren't you guys telling me that stuff? We teach each other, right? So, all right, you guys, I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday, and Kelly will be on Thursday with her technique card, and then we'll see you on Thursday night for class. Love you guys. Sunshine and hugs to you. Bye.